Yeah, I'm looking rough, I know. I know. I've been pulling double days. Literally, I've been driving to Cape Coral. I'll work all day. I wake up at 8, work all day until night, drive to Cape Coral at 10 at night, get there by 1, work on 6 generators in Cape Coral till 5 or 6 in the morning, drive home, get home by 7, 8 or 9, and then work that whole rest of the morning into the day, and then it's game over. When I start, thank God I've got my new truck has the keep me centered in the lane. I'll feel myself freaking falling asleep, and then I go home feeling like my eyes are gonna start shutting. It's game over. So I wanted to talk in a neutral way about the positives and negatives of a home standby unit, which is basically classified as a fixed unit that has an automatic transfer switch. Okay, and for residential, you're gonna be using liquid propane or natural gas. So if you don't have natural gas ran to the house, you're gonna have a propane tank. And since the homeowners associations and the city are very strict, they're gonna make you bury it. And most likely, because of the property line, it's either gonna have to be in the front of the house, which is gonna be in the driveway. Oh yeah. It's gonna be in the driveway, or it's gonna be in the back of the house. And that's only if you have a big enough backyard. So people that have the copy and paste houses where it's house, 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 there's not a lot of room on both sides, you're gonna have the tank in the driveway. Meaning, during the installation, your driveway is gonna be dug up. Okay? So, let me continue going on explaining about the home standbys. So, you're gonna have the liquid propane tank or a natural gas. If you're lucky, you have natural gas because, number one, you don't run out. We're not in California where hurricanes can cause the underground gas supplies to be turned off basically as a safety. You know, you'll always have a supply unless some craziness happened and there was a war. But during a hurricane or anything like that, a regular power outage, you're gonna have unlimited supply. With propane, you get to decide what size tank you want installed in the ground, in your driveway, most likely in the driveway. So that means, and I remember when I used to do the installs at the first company I worked for, every single customer would be so pissed because, number one, when you get a standby unit, this isn't a 1, 2, 3, yippee yay, yippee yee. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4 month, 5 month, 6 month wait. And by wait, I don't mean until they start. I mean, from start to finish, it's gonna easily be 3 months. And if there's a ton of installs and the inspectors are extremely busy and there could be a shortage on generators, you could look at, I've had customers that have been I've had this dug up for a year. okay? So keep that in mind, ask, see how it is, see if they're slammed, see if they are waiting on any generators, because I think you should be aware of that. A lot of customers weren't aware of all of this. So, yeah, you've got the propane tank put in the ground. It needs to be inspected before it can be buried. Gas inspection. You got to have an electrical inspection. You got to have a rough. You have to have a final for both gas and electric, 2 inspections. Certain cities have noise inspections where they got to measure the decibels to make sure that it's not loud enough or too loud to bother the neighbors. And they're loud, which will bring me to my next point. Residential. You're basically looking at 15 kW up to around 45 kW for the rich folks. For the rich folks. You know, the people that live in the mansions that have like, you know, a huge house plus a guest house plus a tennis court plus another guest house, they'll have like either multiple generators or they'll have like a big 100 kW, which would classify as like a commercial. So that doesn't really count, but whatever. So anyways, there's 2 types. There's gonna be air cooled and liquid cooled. Air cooled is for the small generators. Anything, I think they now, and this is perfect, and this is what I've been telling my customers, I think they now make a 22 kW liquid cooled. They used to only have air cooled. But Kohler, all of them, they all have, you know, tons of different sizes from 18, 15 kW, 22, 20 kW, 25 kW, 30, 32 kW, 45, 48 kW, tons of different sizes. I highly recommend, see, number 1, getting a standby generator is expensive. Number 2, if you're not willing to pay the money, don't be surprised that your generator fails. Don't be surprised that your generator doesn't run for more than 3 to 5 days straight before it has a problem. Okay? Besides, just an air cooled alone, you know, costing, that whole install could be anywhere from 13 to 15 to 18,000 bucks, depending on the size of propane tank you get, the run of electrical wire from the transfer switch to the generator, from the panel to the transfer switch. That all plays a major role. If you're getting a 1,000-gallon propane tank or just a 500, or you're getting an even bigger one, you're getting 2 of them tied together, all affect the price. But just right out the rip, you're looking at 15,000, give or take, okay? Maybe less, 12 grand, 10 grand. But the average South Florida clueless homeowner is probably gonna pay 15 grand. Now, that's expensive to me because I don't have it, but that's 15 grand for the basic lowest option you can get. That's for a 22 kW air-cooled generator. Now, this is another thing you got to pay attention to. Those salesmen, they don't care about what happens to you in a year, what happens to the generator in a year. They want that check, they want that commission, and that's it. They never talk to you again. They never have to. They never hear from you. By the time you, if you ever do want to, complain to them, they're gone. This is what I'm saying. The salesman, if he senses that you guys, the homeowners, don't have too much money to spend, but you do have enough and you're very interested in a generator, instead of him selling you the correct size unit so that, you're not running. All right, so this is what happens. You have some homeowners who want a portable, they want a standby unit, right? They've got some money. I mean, they're spending around 10 to 15,000, right? So, but that's all they have. They don't have 20 to 25,000. They've got 10 to 15. So, okay, they've got a big house. The salesman is going to go and sell you a 22 kW generator, air-cooled. And so this is how they get away with it. That 22 kW is not big enough to run your house. There's a little thing called load shedding. And that's how they get away with selling you one and it passing inspection. Load shedding is when you're going to have these weird little, they're not weird, they're little square boxes installed next to your panel. And basically it goes off a frequency. When the generator is running at a high load, the frequency is going to drop. And if it drops too much, you're basically going to have however many boxes you have, how many load shed modules, those are always going to be tied to the biggest loads. Your AC, your oven, your dryer, your water heater. And what it does is, when the generator first kicks on, when you lose power, transfer switch kicks the gen on, generator is producing power, and then the transfer switch does the mechanism and is now is powering your house with generator, right? With the generator. It's gonna shut off the big loads for like 5 minutes. And if you have multiple boxes, then it staggers the time. And so you won't have your AC for 5 minutes. You won't have blah, blah, blah for 8 minutes. And I'm not trying to say that that's a deal breaker. Like, hear me out. Stop assuming stuff. That's not an issue. But if your generator, if they kick on when you have your whole house powered up, because that's what the whole transfer switch is, you're going to have everything else in the house on. If it's too undersized and that AC tries to kick on, it might not be able to, and it's going to drop it out again. Yes, I broke my thumb, had to get emergency surgery. It was bad. Very, very bad. So then, okay, that's not fair. They said it would work. What they're going to do is install a soft start kit on your AC. And what that does is, it's basically a capacitor that helps kick on the AC, because the AC's biggest issue is starting up. It's going from not moving at all, the condenser, to kicking up. It's kind of like when you're sitting down, the hardest part is that initial getting up, and then once you're up, it's smooth sailing. Same thing. That's when it kills your generator. So the soft start helps. It drops the amount of load needed by the generator to turn the AC on. Okay, cool. We fixed that issue. But this is the thing. your generator is still undersized. And so what does that mean? Even with load shed modules, what that means is your generator is going to be working at 100% capacity 24/7. You don't want that. It's like you every single day waking up and putting a 100-pound a book bag full of 100 pounds worth of bricks, whatever. You're putting 100 extra pounds that you have to carry all day, every day. That is what the salesmen are doing to you customers. They're not being truthful. They're getting a sale and they could care less. So, okay, anyways, you've got an air-cooled 22 that is running at 90% load when it powers the house at 3,600 RPMs, which is the fastest, which you don't want. You want obviously like an 1,800 because less inertia, less speed spinning, less chance of a part breaking down or failing. So it's just a recipe for disaster. And then with the air-cooled, they're not meant to go for days and days and days. They're going to get too hot. There's not enough wind and airflow constantly to keep it cool. And so that's why having a liquid-cooled generator is your best. 100% is the way to go if you want your generator to be able to run days and days and days on end. It is the best proven way of keeping your engine temperature at a steady 180, 190, 175, depending on the load. Now, if you have it maxed out, even as a water-cooled, you could have a big enough house where you didn't size the generator correctly. And it's not you, it's your salesman. Because they don't want to give you too high of a price and you say, nah, I got this quote from someone else. The issue is you don't know who to trust and you're basically going by pricing. So they're scared. They don't want to sell it, So anyways, it's nice. You have it air-cooled. Every once in a while, you lose power. Thing kicks on. Bam, you lost power. Cool. You hear your generator turn on. And then, bam, you've got power in the house. The generator's powering the house. What a wonderful world. Life's great. An hour passes. You get regular power back. Cool. It shuts down. Life's amazing. This is just fantastic. So if you really are going to get a standby, keep all of those in mind. Also, you need to keep in mind that you want to get aluminum enclosures. They are in the element. The generator and the frame, the generator enclosure are all getting rained on, sprinkler hitting them all the time. And steel will just rust real quick. You have to get aluminum because those enclosures are like $3,000 to $4,000. It's so expensive. Okay, so make sure you get aluminum. But keep this in mind too. That tank that you get installed in the ground, if you're a younger family and you're making money and you get one of those standbys with a propane tank put in the ground, and you're going to be in that house for 20 years, well, be prepared at around 7-ish years, 10 years, to maybe be told, like, basically, all right, you walk outside where your tank is, right? Your propane tank, and you start seeing that mentally, you know it's buried there. You see a brown circle, kind of, and you're like, that's where my tank is. You see a brown circle, dead grass. You're like, what the heck? You call the gas guy, or first you call your landscaper. They're confused. They don't know English, so they say, no say, no say. You call your gas guy, right? He goes, oh no, how old's your tank? I think, I got the generator installed about 10 years ago. Oh, it's about due. It's due, obviously. Your tank starts to corrode and starts to leak. So guess what that means? You're going to have to get it replaced at some point. And that's not $100. Dig your tank out. Get it inspected. Put a new tank in. Get the rough inspected, the final gas inspection. Dig up your whole driveway. Dig up all the pavers. You're spending what, $5,000 probably? How many times did you use your generator? If we don't get hit by a hurricane in 7 years, how many times will you use your generator in those 7 years? If you're working outside of your house every day, Monday through Friday, and then you're doing a regular 9 to 5 at an office or at a job site, whatever, you probably don't ever lose power when you're home. Like, you're just not home enough for when those random times that FPL goes out. I don't remember the last time that I lost power. So, okay, so I don't know why I keep thinking I'm folding. All right, so basically out of the 7 years, let's say you use your generator, like really use it where you're like, wow, this is awesome. Maybe 3 times. Well, the standby generators have a lot more electronics. You know what that means, right? What's everyone complaining about the new cars nowadays with all of the electronics? They break. They have issues, they freeze, they fry, they need to be replaced, modules go bad, controllers go bad, lightning strikes, fry the system. Yes, be prepared to deal with that. I hope you would buy extended warranty. And then when you run out of warranty, be prepared to spend $1,000 on a controller, like almost every couple of years. Every 3 years you might, So check this out. You use your generator 3 times in the 7 years. Well, in order for you to use it those 3 times in the 7 years, you will have had to have your generator serviced. Every year, twice a year is what the average is, and you're spending like $500 every year. Now, say you're replacing a battery. You know, that's another $300 plus a $200 service charge. You're spending $500 on a battery. Say there's a nuisance fault and you call the company, you're spending $200-300, and all it was a nuisance fault that you had to press reset. Personally, if I had a house, a huge house, I had an amazing car, I had all the toys I wanted, and I had $100,000 in my bank account, consistently building it by $5,000 or $10,000 every month, and just had extra money, I would get one. Okay, I'm not trying to say that I would never get one. I'm sure if I had the financial situation, a good enough financial situation to where it's really not anything, yeah, I would get one. Now, I wouldn't get one if I'm gonna be like, damn, that shit's expensive and I'm breaking the bank. The only way I will get a standby generator is when I'm 90 years old and I'm disabled. When I can't walk, when I'm using a cane, you know, when I get to that point, then I would think about it. Until then, I'm gonna go with the $3,000 install. So it's not automatic. There's a couple of steps you have to do, but they've actually improved like the technology and stuff nowadays. You can go get a portable generator, like a 15,000 or a 13,000 watt portable, run in AC, a central AC, basically all the lights, the outlets, the fans in the house, the refrigerators, the freezers. Just you can't run like multiple ACs. But you could get one of those that's dual fuel. I know, I'm looking rough. I gotta go get a haircut. I've had so many jobs. You can get dual fuel, meaning gasoline and or propane / natural gas, which is very nice. So my setup would be a Duramax 13 or 15,000, because Duramax has the best warranty, the best customer service, and I like their engines. They build them. They're not made in China. And like I said, they take care of their customers very well. Very well. I would get one of those, a 13 or 15, dual fuel. I would not put gasoline in it at all. I would hope to have natural gas, but if not, I would have a propane tank. Now, I wouldn't get a propane tank put in the ground for a portable. No one really would. What you would get though, you can run it off the little propane thing for your grill, but it's not gonna last long. So what I tell my customers is you can order a 100 pound or 100 gallon tank off Amazon for like $200. That'll give you a couple of days or more of run time, depending on what you're powering, what the generator's powering, because if it's powering a lot, it's going to burn more fuel than if it was just powering a light bulb. So I have customers that get a 250 pounder that's on the side of the house that's still hidden behind bushes so they don't get complained at. You don't have to get inspections because it's literally like the grill one, just way bigger. You just put you tighten your fitting on there and you're good. So they get these big tanks and they can have a really long run time. And so you're literally paying, you can get a 13,000 Duramax on Prime Day for $1,000. That's dirt cheap. Regularly they're $14.99. Great warranty. Like I said, anything happens, they replace that shit. And so you spend $1,000 on a generator that's dual fuel. You order the 250-pound propane tank, which is going to burn cleaner than gas. You're going to be able to get it easier during a hurricane than gas. And you can even have the gas companies come out and fill it at your house, because obviously you're not transporting a 250-pound propane tank around. That thing is like this wide, like boop, and like this tall. But $1,000, then another, say, 1,000 if you get the big 250 pound tank, or even a 500 would be like 1,000. A 250 pound propane tank would probably be around $500 or $600. So you're at like 1,500, say 1,600. You pay me to install your outlet that you would plug your generator cord into. From the generator, your portable generator will have a circular plug, either a 50 amp or a 30 amp. You would get the right 50 or 30 amp cord. It has a special connection on both sides, right? It has to fit in a certain way. So you get that. That's expensive if you need 100 feet or so. A 50-foot cord, because of the copper, could be $100-$150. You get a 100-foot cord, it could be like $250. So anyways, you get that. The outlet's $30. I charge $250 to do the whole startup and put your generator together and, set up the battery, walk you guys through everything, telling you about every single setting. And then I charge $500 for the electrical install of the outlet. And so you're looking at basically like under $3,000. And so this is how it would work. Well, let's just go back to our question. How many times did we say we lost power and used the generator in those 7 years? 3 times? Okay. I think that if it comes down to only doing this 3 times, that a standby unit is just not worth it. It's not worth the investment, because think about it. After 7 years, the generator starts to look like shit. It starts to rust, especially the inside. You're replacing parts that are weathered, the starter, hopefully not major parts, but very well could happen. The radiator starts crumbling and getting crappy. It's expensive. And the service is expensive too. And if you don't keep up with the service, you're gonna find that your generator doesn't turn on when you lose power, because you were sick of paying $500 a year and you never even used the damn generator. So you stopped paying. And then bam, that's when you lose power and the thing's not working, and your wife goes, "What the heck?" And you're like, "Oh shit, I hope she doesn't ask when they were last here, because it would have been 3 years ago and she would have kicked your butt." So 3 times in 7 years, this is what you got to do. You lose power, cool. Wherever your portable is, you bring it out to where you're going to run it. You make sure that you can lock it with a chain so no one can steal it, especially during a hurricane, right? Start it up, you have your cord, you connect your cord, and basically wherever your panel is, there's going to be a main breaker. You're going to shut your main breaker off. You're going to shut off all the big loads. You're going to turn the generator breaker on. Bam. Now you've got power to all the little loads, your lights, outlets, fans, okay? And then once that's good, you start turning on the big loads. Now, if you have multiple ACs and you don't have a big enough generator, obviously, you turn on the one AC that you can use. Some people will do this. They'll have an upstairs AC and a downstairs. During the day, they'll run the downstairs. When they go to bed, they'll turn the downstairs off and start the upstairs when they're sleeping. So that's it. And the gen's running. You've got a shit ton of fuel, propane, and that took 5-10 minutes. Once you've done it, it's so quick. And I personally think that $3,000 install, doing a 10-minute, setup for 3 times of use is worth it than having to spend $15,000 and then service calls and the maintenance contract. So keep that in mind, guys. I know that a lot of you folks are like, you guys see it as like a status. I've got a standby generator. You're up there. You're important. No, but seriously, like, people feel that way, and they would feel embarrassed to say they had a portable. If that's how you feel, then that's you. That's not me. I could care less what anyone thinks. I know my shit's gonna be working. So keep that in mind. So real quick, don't get the generator that is going to be maxed out. You want to have it oversized so that it's not working at 100% load all the time. It's the same analogy. If you're wearing 100 pounds of extra weight on you every day, it's going to be way harder than if you were only wearing 50 pounds of extra weight every day, right? The less amount, of hard work that generator has to do, it's going to last you so much longer. Maintenance, oil changes, make sure you stay on top of that. Keep in mind about the propane tanks rusting out. Keep in mind about air-cooled. You rather have liquid-cooled, and you rather have 1800 RPMs. You're going to pay more. You're going to pay more, but for the long run, it won't break down, and that is what carries value. I also want to touch on and ask you guys to tell me why you think Generac is the best of the best. I'm certified to work on Generacs. I've been to training. I just want to tell you something. This is how it goes. There's like 5 major, there's like 10, but the major ones are what? Caterpillar, Cummins, Kohler, Generac. And so, I've asked people this. They say, oh, well, I only see Generac. It's always Generac, 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 Generac. Reason being, because all the other companies were in the industrial and commercial market, because that's where the money's at. Hospitals, 2 megawatt generators are like millions of dollars. So they said, screw the residential. We're focusing on the commercial. We're selling huge corporations, big generators making millions, right? So Generac played their cards right. They advertised like crazy, and they got the residential market. The issue is, you know, I fix a lot of the little portables, right? I love the Briggs and Strattons with the Generac engines and the older Generacs. They're great. It's the new stuff. They're just not built like they used to be. I run the largest generator technician group on Facebook. I've got almost 4,000 members, all generator technicians. They all work for one of the brand, basically. You know, they're working for Caterpillar, Kohler, Cummins, Deutz, Perkins, John Deere. And I will tell you this, and it's been asked multiple times, what is the worst brand generator as a technician that you hate working on? They say Generac. I'm not trying to hate, and I feel bad because people that have Generacs are gonna get upset at me. And that's not, you know, your Generac probably is working fine and has been for many, many years. You've probably had a Generac 20 years ago that lasted 20 years. You moved, you got a new Generac, and it's been great. So F you, Brian. I get it. I'm just relaying the message. As a technician, and I've seen it, compared to other manufacturers, Generac apparently tests every single generator before it goes out the door. I've had I've had so many get delivered where they just couldn't have even tested it because it wouldn't have worked. You know, like the battery cable was not hooked up correctly, or the starter bolts were missing. Like, just the dumbest things that show their quality control is horrendous. You will not find a Generac at any hospital, nursing home, data center. You won't. You're gonna find Caterpillar, Cummins, Onan, you know, Kohler, and that should tell you something. Kohler, Cummins, they all make a standby generator also that are excellent. Now, they all break. I'm not saying none of them break except Generac. I'm saying Generac has gone down in quality control, and like the material that they use has gone down tremendously. I mean, dude, there will be a generator that, you know, we sell to a customer, and like in a year, the inside of the frame is rusted to, it's already rusting. Like, you're like, what is this? Some Chinese sheet metal? Like, literally. And so, but I'm not saying that none of the other ones are going to ever break down. Like, they all have their issues. It's just, we've seen more shenanigans come from Generac than any of the other brands. That's basically all it comes down to. And so I only say this because I don't want you guys to be upset. I don't want you guys to get ripped off. I want you to know the facts. I want you to be able to ask the questions and kind of shut the salesman up. Like, hey, I got correct info. What's going on here? And so you ever have any questions, give me a call, email me. I'm more than willing to help you out, explain anything. I'll talk to the salesman and put him on his ass if he's lying to you guys. And I will feed you the right info. I'll feed you the truthful facts of everything to make sure that you guys are getting what you want and what you think you're getting. Because what you think you're getting and what you're really getting is basically like complete opposites most of the time. So I hope that some of this was helpful. It was a long video. Took me forever to fold my clothes. But I hope you guys have a good night, and let me know what you think. Bye.